What if you didn't view this video, and today is the day your life changes forever? Would you still miss it? God's message contains the solutions you've been looking for, and it is here right now. You might never discover the blessings that were intended for you if you ignore this. Stop letting this opportunity pass you by. In your relationship, are you experiencing feelings of disconnection, uncertainty, and maybe even discouragement? Does the person you strongly care about appear virtually unapproachable, cloaked in emotions and insecure walls? You may believe that it's difficult to understand what's going on within his heart, no matter how hard you try. You sense a strong force between you that may not even be recognized by him. It pierces your spirit. This isn't just your imagination. Rather, it's your soul seeing the intricacies of his actual emotions toward you. You are here today for the very reason that your angels have a very important message for you. Your kindness will bring God's blessings. Share and give to carry out his prophecy. Come along with me as we solve this puzzle together and discover how to turn your present uneasiness into a genuine, powerful relationship. This person's behavior toward you is a direct result of the special place that you occupy in his life. You seem to be a unique component in his world's complex puzzle, fitting in just where no other person could. His demeanor and his aura convey that you are in a unique space that has been selected for reasons that only he fully comprehends. He has a propensity to categorize everyone and everything in his life into clearly defined categories, including relationships. But this trend shows itself much more clearly when it comes to your relationship. He wants to share himself with you, to open himself. Yet there are layers of intricacy involved in this openness. It's not just about how much you mean to him. It's about the enormous influence you've had on his life. What's fascinating is that this conduct can be a reflection of how important you are to him, rather than how he feels about you directly. He views you as a central figure and finds you indispensable, and this has an impact on him that he may not even be completely aware of. Act now. We need your $50 to continue sharing God's love today. Even so, he frequently feels that you don't understand how deeply he feels about you. He might sense that you don't entirely understand his feelings or intentions, even in the absence of a clear explanation. He uses this sense of being misinterpreted as a kind of protection, something he may not even want to alter or find it difficult to control. He may not share his actual feelings with you when it comes to expressing them. Instead, he may tell you what he believes you want to hear. This is a taught behavior meant to shield his emotions from sensitivity, so it's not always dishonest. Your gift is a prophetic act. Spread the word about God by sharing this video. Though his desire to be more truthful and honest is there is an internal barrier that prevents him from opening up completely. You might be surprised to learn that the subconscious mind functions much like a computer program, frequently repeating old habits without the user's conscious knowledge. A person's odd or inconsistent behavior is typically linked to these ingrained habits. Something in your connection might be causing him to act out in this way on a regular basis. He's not intentionally doing this. In fact, most of the time he's not even conscious of what he's doing. However, it has a genuine effect on your relationship, particularly if he starts acting in a way that confuses you. You could question if this will ever change because he is still viewing you through the prism of his prior experiences and beliefs. Will he always see you this way? Or does he plan to change? This is frequently connected to a rejection phobia. He can unintentionally use you as a mirror for his anger by projecting his own insecurities onto you. This could be a major roadblock to your connection's development. He can think that you just don't get him, that you're unable to see things from his point of view, even if there's no obvious explanation for this. He wishes you understood that life is full of mistakes and that no one is flawless. He feels that since you two initially connected, your perception of him has evolved considerably. He initially perceived you as someone who was personable and open when your energies were in harmony. However, something changed, and he now feels that you are provoking him and that he must suppress his feelings when you are there. This is a novel and very meaningful emotion. The energy between you has become specific and intense, so anything you are doing right now is having a significant effect on him. He may have changed to become more performative and careful with you as a result of a singular, unrelated incident in the recent past. He is now more conscious of his words and actions when around you, taking care to avoid saying or doing anything that could damage your opinion of him. This dynamic could emerge at random times, during quick chats, informal interactions, or even just by being silent with one another. He used to be able to freely express himself with you and felt genuine and at ease. But lately, there's been a difference in your responses to him, and this has shocked him. He might no longer want to engage in lengthy talks or divulge sensitive information since he is worried about how others will interpret his energy. He is adjusting to a new level of self-awareness, considering the consequences of every word and move to avoid changing your opinion of him. You used to be held in such high respect by him that he practically saw you as a role model. This is what happens when we look up to someone or recognize traits in them that we would like to develop in ourselves. Abruptly, though, something seemed to have changed, maybe something you did or said, or maybe something you chose not to say. It's possible that he saw your quiet as criticism or disapproval, which damaged his perception of you. Participate in God's prophetic plan. Your gift and share can reach many people with his message. He may now appear more defensive, as though defending himself against any judgment or criticism he thinks you might voice. This does not imply that you committed any errors. It's possible that your silence or opinion was a tactful approach to respect his personal space, decline to engage, or just disagree. However, it might have seemed to him as a lack of encouragement or a shift in perspective. It seems as though he thought you would always be there for him, and when he found out you had boundaries and opinions of your own, it caused him to reevaluate your relationship. This is a tricky scenario, particularly if he is not accustomed to taking criticism or comments from others. Even though it was never your purpose, you might have felt helpless or betrayed, since he was placing expectations on you that you were unaware of. You no longer appear to him to be someone who merely and consistently exists inside their own head. He now sees you as a vital component of his existence, as someone whose thoughts and perspectives broaden his perspective on the world. The fact is that this emotion doesn't go away on its own. Give us $50 to help us continue to offer spiritual assistance. There is a very strong cyclical energy coming from him, and he acts in cycles. It's interesting to note that despite his conscious efforts to put you out of his mind, a part of him still yearns for your company. You might unconsciously observe minute adjustments in his demeanor or mood when you engage with him. He seems to be holding back from telling you something, as if he wants to steer the conversation in a different direction. He may bring up particular subjects in an attempt to read your thoughts and gauge your motivations. There's a definite tension to the exchange, as though he's not so subtly transferring his own feelings and anxieties onto you. The intensity of this energy is evident, even if it's possible that he isn't even aware of what he's doing. If you have the ability to read energy, you might sense that something is off in his aura, even if you might not be able to identify what it is. He might have unintentionally carried a lot of emotional baggage into this relationship because of his restrained demeanor. His behavior may be influenced by past experiences, leading him to enter partnerships presuming certain things about your actions or reactions. He might have made the decision at some point in his life to resist giving himself over completely to love. This is almost palpably demonstrated by the intensity he exudes, suggesting a good explanation for his reserved demeanor. He is obviously looking for love, but because of these unconsciously ingrained barriers in his subconscious programming, he ultimately pushes away the thing he really wants, a committed, real relationship at his side. This obstruction can show itself in a number of ways, such persuading oneself that something is wrong, or acting in ways that, without recognizing it, go against what one truly desires. This entire process is entirely unconscious. From a spiritual standpoint, we can see that this individual was, at some point in his life, trained subconsciously by someone, somewhere, or something horrific. Profound emotional blocks were caused by these unsolved traumas. Maybe he hasn't asked for assistance or given these traumatic experiences enough thought, which is why he keeps having similar experiences and repeating bad behaviors. It's not that he lacks trust. Rather, it's more that he has been thrown into so many scenarios that make him lose his ability to trust people, even in the absence of a clear explanation. For someone, a $50 donation might mean the difference between hopelessness and optimism. Regretfully, despite the fact that you have done nothing to merit it, it appears that he has categorized your relationship as suspicious. He puts up barriers to protect himself, maybe because he fears being harmed again. It seems like he's unconsciously revisiting past traumas and prioritizing them over fresh opportunities. You made a delicate observation about him, revealing a side of himself that he might not even be aware of. It would shock you to learn the extent of what he is suppressing. Consequences of this on a mental, emotional, spiritual, or bodily level. In love, we all look for an energetic characteristic that might be high, low, or a combination of the two. His actions and emotions are not innate. Rather, they have developed over time as a result of his patterns and responses to the people he selects to love. This is what makes him unique in this circumstance. He is affected by your kindness and light in a way that is distinct from other people in his life. When you two get close, you see sides of him that he is unable to hide from you and that no one else can see, even though he might think he is showing you every aspect of himself. Everyone has a dark side or shadow self that they want to keep hidden from the public. The distinction lies in the fact that he is speaking to you from both his bright and dark sides. There's no luxury of engaging with the surface of someone else's being when it comes to you. You witness everything, including the silences, and he is aware of this, which is why he is still drawn to you in spite of how difficult or honest your chats may be. He can't find the same genuineness and reality anywhere else as there is in your relationship. He might be trying to figure out how you can see things that he would prefer to keep concealed. But in the dynamic between the two of you, it's just not feasible. It's as if every time he is in your presence, his energy silently says, "I see you, and I see you clearly." He has the impression that everything about him, including his flaws and secrets, is on display. This is about a profound energetic connection that is both alluring and frightening to him. It's not simply about attraction. He yearns to be seen by someone who can accept him for everything that he is, flaws and all. There's a catch, though. This dynamic involves not only the attractive energy, but also the repulsive and fearful energies. He runs to you to be seen, but he pulls away when he sees what you are seeing. It's a push and pull. He wants to be vulnerable, but he also fears rejection or judgment. You may sense this internal conflict in him, even if it's not something he consciously acknowledges. More than anything, he wants to know if you can accept all of who he is, and if you can do it without passing judgment. He yearns to be fully accepted, to be valued despite his imperfections by someone. His drive to prove to you that everyone makes errors and that nobody is perfect, not even himself, is the source of his energy. It feels almost like he put you on a pedestal when he first connected with you. He idealized you because of the way you carried yourself, regardless of your education, experiences, or how you presented yourself. This site might stop working for you without your $50. This idealization makes things more difficult because as he begins to reveal more and more of who he really is, he starts projecting onto you aspects of himself that are either still hidden or that he believes are socially unacceptable. It's amazing how much energy each and every human has within them. It grows stronger and more intense the more we attempt to hide or suppress it. When someone chooses to be vulnerable and open up about their feelings and ideas, whether in a friendly exchange or out of trust, it provides a better understanding of who they really are. This method gives him a fresh outlook on life and love, in addition to revealing what's on his mind. It's being at your side that makes him go through this change. To be able to see him in his purest form, to grasp his subtleties and to love him without reservation is one of the fundamental goals of your relationship. Because this man is a reflection of you in many ways, when you do this, you also start to love yourself more. It's clear that the energy you draw in and the experiences you've had in the past are related. God put you on this person's path to help him rediscover love in his heart after a protracted time of dejection and indifference. He questions whether he has ever truly loved before because of the powerful feelings you arouse in him. What he feels now is very different from what he felt in past connections. Because of unconscious barriers, he might not have been able to fully open out when he first entered earlier relationships. His fault is not this. You entered his life to break down these boundaries. Thus, he is currently going through a difficult process. It's possible that you're the first to challenge his views on life and love. Most likely, you're the first to push him intellectually, ask him why he feels the way he does, and force him to consider his ideas and experiences. This dude obviously isn't used to this type of interaction. Your manner, your sincere interest, and the way you communicate with him have caused him to reflect on parts of himself that he had never before been forced to confront. Your generosity will enable God's prophecy to come to pass. Share and give to see his work flourish. Curiosity energy has a lot of power, especially when it comes to relationships. It's a nuanced method of exploring someone's innermost thoughts and discovering who they really are. You've unknowingly changed his vibe, that much is true. Even though he may not have wanted to go as far with this relationship at first, you managed to open his heart in a way he was not expecting. Whatever goals he had for you in the beginning have altered drastically. But what's most amazing is that this transition came about organically, indicating that this is indeed your genuine purpose in his life. Your presence has such an impact because you are someone who challenges him and helps him become his best self. It's possible that this procedure isn't always lovely or simple. Knowing the reality about your connection, he's starting to see why this energy between you materialized. From the beginning, you noticed something about him that goes beyond the mask he wears and that nobody else can really see. You knew from the start, and that's why your connection grew the way it did, even though there may not even be a rational explanation for feeling this way.